Masters of Evaluation Club takes very seriously providing us all a safe and secure meeting. We want you to know a high level of trust, honor, and respect for each participant is not only encouraged but required. Masters of Evaluation members are focused on perfecting their speaking, leadership, and evaluation skills, which eliminates any room for personal offense. As Sergeant at Arms, it's also my role to share a few practices to provide us with a smooth flowing meeting. For example, we ask you silence your phones. We do want to see you, hello there, unless you are eating or drinking something or moving around. If that's the case, turn off your video, but do remember to turn it back on once you've finished your movements, because we want to see you. You're so gorgeous. Yes. In order to make our meeting more interactive, we ask everyone to usually keep your video and attention on. Finally, if you are serving a speaking or functionary role, we ask you rename yourself right now so we may identify what role you're serving. These few recommendations will ensure we all have an enjoyable, comfortable, and memorable visit together. The recording is on, yes? Okay. Again, please remember to turn your phone back on once our meeting is concluded. You don't want to miss any calls from your devoted fan club. It is now my pleasure to bring to our virtual stage our dynamic, always intentional, and fun-loving elected president of Masters of Evaluation, Mr. John White. John?
Thank you very much for that introduction. Happy April, everyone. Great to see you all. We've got a full agenda, 3 speakers, 3 evaluators, table topics, maybe snap evaluation. It's full. So let's get into it. Let's say hi to our guests. Sometimes I miss them, so I'm just going to scan. Mic drop, Calvin Dorsey's here. Calvin, how'd you find out about us?
I attended the meeting a couple of weeks ago.
Wonderful. I have short-term memory loss. Tell us a little about what you told us a couple of weeks ago about yourself. How'd you find us?
I'm currently a DTM who has completed all 11 paths and pathways. I've served as a district leader for a number of years, have a keen interest in the Toastmasters experience. I believe in it. I'd like to participate in it. I'm always looking for a good club.
I remember now with all the 11 pathways that jogged my memory. Thank you for humoring me. Next, Todd. His reputation precedes him, and he's so involved with Toastmasters, all the districts cannot fit in his byline. Todd, expand upon that impressive D61, 33, 35. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ranking Officer, fellow Toastmasters and friends. So I'm what they call a toastaholic. I can stop anytime I want, I just choose not to. And last night, I visited my 1,000th different club around the world through the power of online communication. I am presently in 5 different districts and 5 different clubs. My home club is District 61, 3021, the Dollard Club. It's been around for 65 years. I've been a member for 27 years. And I'm the president of a club in District 33, an advanced club called Au Jeu, District 35, an advanced specialty club called DJAB, where you can, if you can't do it in this club, you can definitely do it in that club. Some very off-the-wall kind of stuff happens in that club. District 101, I'm the unofficial coach of a college or university club that just went from 3 to 30, and we just put 6 of our members through their first TED. And 2 of my mentees just won the area contest for evaluation and speech. I'm also currently going to District 123 for table topics. I'm competing in District 123 division level international speech on Wednesday. And I am the District 35 evaluation champ. And I've also won all of the contests in District 61 at some point. And we do them all in English and French.
Wow. Wow. Impressive. Some might not want to follow that, but Rhonda Young's like, I'm D38 director, and I could sit here and talk about myself for an hour, 20 minutes, but I'll keep it short in the interest of the meeting. Welcome, Rhonda.
Thank you so much, John. And it's not all about me. Yes, I am the District 38 director. It's hard to follow those decorated Toastmasters that went before me, the 11 paths completed, the 1,000 clubs attended. My claim to fame, or my district's claim to fame, is we are the home district of the world champion of public speaking. Jocelyn Tyson. And guess what? She is my mentee, so I'll keep it short and sweet.
Okay, the ultimate flex. I coached the winner. Okay, great to see you. Jack Kaminsky, good to see you, sir. Just wanted to say your name. It sounds so lovely. Layla, it's been a while. How have you been?
Well, thank you so much. Thank you all for supporting me when my father passed away. I really appreciate all of the messages of condolences. As you know, it happened last October. And, we've been going through quite a bit of grief, trying to cope with what happened. But I think we're slowly coming out of it now. And I'm so happy to be here today. And I'm looking forward to the theme, Walk the Talk. That sounds exciting. And, celebrating also the UN Day, International Day of Conscience. That sounds so like a lot of fun. And I'm currently the president for Friends of the Lions Circle. Todd is the VP membership for our club. And I'm also the area director for G91. Thank you.
Wow, impressive. I was just thinking you're judged by the company you keep. And I guess as a Toastmaster club, you're judged by the guests that you can pull. This is impressive. Wow. Katuta Lumpa, I'm sure I butchered your name. Can you say hi? There you go. How are you? What a smile.
Hi, I'm Katuta Lumpa. I'm based in the UK. I belong to a club called Stevenage Speakers. I've been a member of Toastmasters for the last 4 years. I'm currently area director for Area 20. I've finished level 5, and that's presentation mastery, and also level 3 visionary communications. What I've struggled with throughout the 4 years is evaluations. So I started Googling and seeing where I could go. I saw this Master of Evaluations, and I wanted to come here and see if I can upskill myself with evaluations.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank
Good to
you.
see you. Sheila LaChance? Hi, how are you? Could you unmute, please? Okay, hi, I wasn't hearing you. Sheila, just a play on the last name. There's still a chance for you to join the club. We are still taking applications. I think you're unmuted if you want to say hi now.
Hi.
Good
Thank
to
you,
see
John.
you.
Thank you,
Welcome
John.
back. Rakia said she was with 4 other people and had to remain unmuted. If that isn't the case, and you can say hi, Rakia, now's the time. Waiting a beat. We move on to Rosie Flaherty. Rosie, how'd you find out about us?
Hi, I found out about you from Vicky, and I just won the area contest last week, and I'm going to join the division contest on April 26th. So I would like to join the club to get more feedback and evaluations as I'm registering as a speaker for the next meeting.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Thank
Boy,
you.
so many guests. We did a great job promoting the club and the meeting. I think our last guest is Pamela Brody. Pamela? Can you say hi,
Yes.
Pamela? Oh, hey, how are you?
Sorry, can you hear me? Oh,
We can now.
so sorry, guys. Hi. Thank you. Yes, I am just running from another meeting. Actually, I had a Toastmasters meeting in the morning. So my name is Pamela Brody. I found out about you guys. I was also in the competition. I'm a part of, my goal is to become a public speaker. I've been acting and musical improv. I had a one-woman show, and I was just like, this public speaking feels like exactly where I need to be. I'm a health coach. And I got such great accolades in my 2 chapters, and I thought I was going to win the competition. And then I kind of came in second place. And that made me go, what feedback am I not getting? Like, I need to learn more of how I can improve. And then I got some feedback from somebody who'd been in the Toastmasters for 40 years. And I'm like, wait, where do you learn this? This isn't in Pathways. Because I got my Pathways in I ran with it. I did 2 pathways in, a few months. And so I wanted to find people who could give me that kinds of evaluation so I could move to the next level. So I just looked you guys up online at your advanced club, and Vicki was so wonderful. And she said she's a professional speaker. So I'm really excited to be amongst you guys. And I look forward to being a part of the meeting and seeing how to get to the level. Thank you.
Welcome. You came to the right place. I think that's everybody. Did I miss anyone? Welcome to all our guests. Before I turn it over to the Toastmaster, some of you may be asking, how do I become my version of Rhonda Young? How do I become my version of Todd? You notice how active they are in Toastmasters? It has to do with leadership. It's not something beyond yourself. Yes, you can work on yourself, but giving to others. And there's no greater form of leadership than starting out working on the board. The board, as you know, the new year is upon us in July 1st. And the MoE board will be moving over. It's a democratic process. We want to encourage everyone to put their name in there. There's 7 roles. So there's all sorts of leadership. There's the president. There's 3 VPs of education, of membership, of public relations. There's a secretary. There's a sergeant of arms. If you're good with money, there's a treasurer. A variety of things. So I want to encourage all of you to consider leadership at MoE. If you're interested, please reach out to our VPE, who will be able to Sandra Savage, who'll be able to talk to you about it. And if you say, well, I heard someone was already going to be Sergeant of Arms, and you have a calling for Sergeant of Arms, put your name into it. We can have a vote on this. This is a democratic process, and we want to encourage you. I resisted leadership for the longest time, and now it's one of the highlights of my Toastmasters involvement. Step into it, just like you had fear about speaking or evaluating. By practice, you'll get better. It'll be a decision that you will thank yourself for. So with that, it's my pleasure to turn it over to one of our great leaders of Masters of Evaluation. She's a distinguished Toastmaster. She's a world-renowned chef. She's a pathways guru. I could go on and on. I start sounding like she could give Todd a run for his money. I'm just going to say it's Sandra Savage. Sandra?
Thank you, John. And today is a very special day. Not only do we have so many guests, and that just puts a smile on my face to have so many people here, but it's also the UN Day that has been declared a day of compassion and a change of mindset as we deal with all of the struggles in the world. A lot of us struggle to speak and to be heard. And that's why I joined Masters of Evaluation. Like many of you have said, when you talk, do you know if you're even doing a good job? Are you getting the right feedback? And in this club, we work on that primarily. And so I put in the chat for you what to look for when you evaluate. It's kind of a one sheet that we put together as a group to look at how you evaluate a speech. What is important in the speech? What is the message? My favorite is, can you remember the speech an hour later, a day later? Or in my case, I remember the first speech I heard 35 years ago. It was that profound. And I've only heard it once, and I retell that story over and over again. So speak to be heard. And to help us today do that, we have 3 speeches. We're going to have table topics, and we do something special here called SNAP evaluations. And I'll stick a sheet in the chat in just a little bit. Let me just point out a little housekeeping here. If you have any questions about any of the files that we put in the chat, or that you're missing an agenda, how we do evaluations, the word of the day, once David presents that, which will be next, let myself, Vicki, or April know, and we will be sure to get back to you. So you can just chat one of us directly, and we'll keep an eye out for any messages from you. So with that, I would like to turn it over to David, who is going to give us the word of the day. And David, how many times are you going to challenge us to use this word today?
I would like each of you to try and use the word at least once whenever you speak. And that might mean twice, it might mean 3 times. But challenge yourself to try and use it. It's a word I've always been afraid of using. I sort of understood it, but I really wasn't sure what it meant. So the word is salient, SALIENT, and in certain circumstances you can add ly, so it's saliently. And what does it mean? Well, it means prominent, or it means standing out. So a salient point. It means salient progress. So I hope you're all trying to make salient progress whenever you attend a meeting. It can mean jetting upwards like a fountain, or standing out conspicuously. So those are some examples of the word of the day. Salient. Challenge yourself to have a go at using it during whenever you speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David.
Would you also like me to go on and describe the role of a grammarian at the stage?
Oh, please do. Sorry.
Okay. Grammarian, I love it and hate it. I love it because it's a wonderfully archaic term. It's at least 100 years old. It's like Toastmasters. Nobody really knows what it means. But we've all got used to the word Toastmasters. But grammarian means something if you're a man, if you're 200 years old and you've been to a traditional, certainly British school where you had to learn some grammar. Of course, no women were allowed at school. But what it really means is being the chief listener. So I shall be doing a lot of listening during the meeting. I'll also be the word master. I'll be listening for the words that you use. So the word master and the chief listener. There are three salient ways I'll be looking at this. I'll be looking at any poor language or any weak language that you use that could be improved. And particularly, I'll be collecting waste words that really should go into the trash can. So please try and avoid and are and and so, and you know what I mean. Those kind of words which mean nothing at all. They're just waste words or phrases. The second thing is really the opposite, is powerful words or phrases, vivid words or phrases which really stick in the mind and in the ear, and maybe in future words and phrases that you use. And finally, as we've said, the word of the day, try and have a go at using salient or saliently. That's my role as so-called grammarian. I'll be listening out for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, David. And I'm going to turn it over to Judith now, who is going to saliently tell us the rest of the roles. She is our general evaluator today and will be giving us a report at the end on how we do. Judith.
Excuse me. Okay, as a general evaluator, would you do me a favor and put your role next to your name, so I know who you are and what you do? So it would be a lot easier to find people roles. So we had the grammarian. Our timer is
Baku.
Baku Talbert. So
Yeah.
tell us about your role as a timer, please.
Well, thank you. And greetings, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests. As timer, I will time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and evaluations. I will also alert each speaker at the time that they have left using the green, yellow, and red backgrounds you will see, which denote specific times remaining. The salient details for the speakers include table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At the 1 minute, I will raise the green background. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow background. At 2 minutes, I will raise the red background. Those giving speeches should limit their remarks for the specific speech times. Icebreaker speeches should be 4 to 6 minutes in length.
You don't have icebreakers.
We don't have icebreakers. So most of the other speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes in length. At the 5 minutes, I will raise the green background. At 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow background. At 7 minutes, I will raise the red background. The individual evaluation should be between 2 to 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green background. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow background. And then at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster and Judith.
Okay, thank you so much. And I think that, and as a role, I will introduce the evaluators after the prepared speeches, and I will evaluate a meeting at the end of the meeting. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
All right, let's get to the good stuff. Our 3 speeches. Our first speaker today is Pat Caslin, and I can't think of a better way to start a meeting than with his profound wisdom and words. And today he's going to be talking to us using his PATH motivational strategies. The title is Always Be Fully Present. And he's going to be exemplifying body language. And I'm sorry, Vicki, I cut you short. I'm trying to pull in some time. You'll give your evaluation later. But Pat, would love for you to give us your speech.
I was rolling my wheelchair along a hospital corridor in Dublin recently on my way to visit one of my old friends, John. He'd been a huge supporter and a rock of strength to me when I'd been diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 15 years ago. He'd helped me to see the positives in it, and now I was wondering what kind of support I can give him after his terminal diagnosis. How can I, with a future to look forward to, empathize with somebody whose future is about to be stolen? John and I had met in our late teens. We'd lived together. We'd dated girls together. We'd worked together. He'd always been a big, corpulent man, a little short-sighted, and he had a wickedly dark sense of humor. When I got to his hospital door, I paused, I took a deep breath, and I steeled myself for these next moments. But not enough. My overweight friend had become a grey skeleton, a gaunt shadow of the man I knew. It didn't take me long, though, to get over my worry about empathy when he put on a half-broken pair of glasses, looked me square in the eye, smiled his wickedest smile and said, "Most extreme diet I've ever done, Pat. It certainly got the weight off, though I'm not sure I'd recommend it." And then he said, "I know what you're going to ask, Pat. How am I getting on?" He told me that terminal illness had given him time to put his life in perspective. He had learned the importance of always being fully present, to listen fully, to give his undivided attention to those he's with, because it may be the last time he's with them. And fixing me with his knowing stare and a smile, he said,
Most of us are too distracted to realize that when the moment passes, Pat, it's irretrievable. He told me that he had learned that love is how you feel about yourself in the presence of others. And to not be fully present is to not show your love. He said he had felt much love recently, but much regret also for all the times that he wasn't fully present, thinking about his to-do lists or the row he just had, or the meeting next Monday at work, or his social media feeds, or the update on his phone, and all the other things that occupy our attention. And he reflected on when we were younger, how we masked our authenticity, how we hid our vulnerability, how we listened only in judgment or for an opportunity to respond, and how these things destroy meaningful conversation. And giving me that wicked smile again, he said that terminal illness had meant his vulnerability mask was off for good. Being serious though, he said terminal illness had given him time to settle his legacy, time to prepare his loved ones to be without him, time to ensure they'd be okay, time to make peace with himself and his God, time to be grateful for the life he had and what's left of it, time to hear that things that most others never hear because they're only spoken in their eulogy. He said, Pat, you'll remember how we found the positives in your multiple sclerosis diagnosis. But I've found the positives in my terminal diagnosis. Time. Pat, time to see that diagnosis as a gift. Then he asked me how I was. I reminded him of how he had helped me to see chronic illness as a gift. But I explained to him that it had become progressive. And the best way to understand that was to remember that old car we bought, John, when we were young. We were never sure whether the body was just going to rust away slowly or the engine would seize up suddenly. And we thought that car was what a world of trouble looked like. And this is what we think is a gift. Over the next couple of hours and in between the silences that can exist between great friends, we talked about how much quality time with others we had squandered on distractions, self-protection, pretense, judgment. I came away from John that day knowing I needed to have better conversations. Conversations in which I'm fully present. Conversations that reach into the essence of others' souls. Conversations in which no one is masking who they really are. In which no one is listening in judgment. In which no one is waiting to respond, in which everyone is present in every irretrievable moment. Our best conversations are the ones in which we unmask our vulnerable selves, in which we share our authentic struggles, where honesty speaks viscerally to our souls, commands our full presence, and it helps us to be our only authentic selves. If you want to know what you mean to others, if you want to know what others mean to you, if you want to feel loved in your loved one's presence and them to feel loved in yours, lose the distractions, forget about your to-do list, forget about the row you just had, forget about the things that you have to do on Monday at work, forget about your social media feed and the phone and all that other noise that occupies your attention. And just be with the person you're with. If you want to know what you mean to others before it's too late and your eulogy's been spoken, be fully present in every moment. Because, unlike my late friend John, time, you will never understand how he saw time as a gift. Madam Toastmaster.
You did not fail to deliver, Pat. I was watching everyone's face. I had to shut off my camera because I was shedding a few tears. That was a very impactful speech, perfect in the direction of the UN Day of, well, a change in mindset, looking at things through a new lens, looking at things differently and appreciating them and acting on them. I'd like to have a timer for 90 seconds, Baku, for us to send a message either publicly or privately to Pat about his speech.
Also, Baku, could you put your reaction hand on so that people can find you as a timer, so then you will appear on the left-hand corner? Thank you.
Raise your hand. It's down at the bottom.
I'm looking for it, right?
Yeah, look down at the bottom under reactions.
Okay.
Then that raising the hand will take you to the far left. No, that's what you're clapping. Good job.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, there we go. Wait, here we go. Right.
There you go.
Okay. I want to tell you the second secret I learned as a Toastmaster from a fellow Toastmaster when I asked, how do you think I did at the end of my speech? And she said to me, if you don't know, you weren't listening. I said, what? I was doing all the talking. And she said, no, they were telling you exactly how you were affecting them. Well, Tamara has that challenge today. She's going to give a speech. She's titled it A Lesson in Great Value. And she's going to be given the task of adapting her speech according to her audience reactions. So please give Tamara your full attention as she gives her speech, A Lesson of Great Value.
I remember a joke with a picture in my English textbook at school. A man in the restaurant is waiting to be served and has his napkin tied around his neck. The owner of the restaurant tells a young waiter to let the man know tactfully that this is the wrong way to use a napkin in the restaurant. The waiter approaches the patron and asks with deliberate politeness, a shave or a haircut, sir? Can you remember a time in your life when somebody told you the truth, but it kind of blew you away, blinded you, hurt you more than it helped you? And it took you a long time to accept that it was maybe a gift that somebody told you that truth. I will tell you a story from my life, which happened 20 years ago, but it stands out in my memory quite vividly. I lived in Ukraine then and was invited to work in a team which was translating spiritual songs from English into Ukrainian, later to be published and spread all over the country. It was a great honor, and I was thrilled. I was translating the lyrics of several songs assigned to me with great enthusiasm and really enjoyed the process. In less than a week, the work was done. I was very proud of myself and anticipated the words of praise. Before being published, the translations had to be approved by a committee of specialists in music and languages. Prior to this, a personal evaluator was assigned to each translator. Corrections and suggestions were usually made electronically. My evaluator, Julia, was a young music teacher who knew Ukrainian pretty well and could speak English too. Instead of sending her remarks electronically, she suggested that we should meet in person. I liked the idea, hoping to hear more words of praise than she would put in writing. When she silently handed me the printed papers with my work, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was speechless. I was flabbergasted and devastated, focusing only on fighting back unwanted tears. I was dazzled by the amount of red marks showing the words and phrases to be changed. Julia started explaining. It turned out that in several places my good lyrics just couldn't be sung to the tune provided. While translating, I did not try to sing the lines and just recited them to myself as verses. When you sing the lyrics, the rhythm differs, pauses disappear, some words sound blended, and that changes the meaning. That was my oversight in several places. I must admit that all Julia's remarks were fair, though it was not easy for me to accept the bitter truth. The story ended well. I calmed down, worked some more on the lyrics, and my work was eventually approved and included in a hymn book still widely used in Ukraine. This story from my life brings to mind an amazing poem by Emily Dickinson about telling the truth. It's fascinating how Dickinson, one of the brightest stars of American poetry, in just a few lines captures a powerful insight and leads to all kinds of interesting introspection. Here is the poem. Tell all the truth, but tell it slant. Success in circuit lies. Too bright for our infirm delight, the truth's superb surprise. As lightning to the children, eased with explanation kind, the truth must dazzle gradually, or every man be blind. Very powerful, isn't it? So what is the poem suggesting? Telling the complete truth, but gently, indirectly, going around, because people can be hurt with the truth. It can blind as lightning. Think of the skiers on high steep mountains. They do not go straight down at an uncontrollable speed. They go in circuits. It's still exciting, but safer. The same with the truth. Just telling it is not enough. We have to be conscious of its delivery and of the person receiving it. When we calmly and tactfully provide explanations, the truth dazzles gradually and does not hurt. This is the major message and the salient point of this poem, teaching us a lesson of great value. In conclusion, I invite you to ponder. Don't you think it's extremely important for us, Toastmasters, to keep this lesson in mind when we evaluate others? Maybe there was a time when you told the truth directly and it hurt and blinded somebody. And if you had to do it over, you would probably have a circuitous route, the route of love, of kindness, of compassion. Poetry is a great teacher, isn't it? Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tamara. Baku, could you put on the clock for us 90 seconds and to use this time to give Tamara some feedback as we prepare for our final speech before we move into the fun of table topics? Okay. Thank you very much, Baku. I am going to be very salient and introduce Shantae as if she were being a contestant in the International Speech Contest. As you know, evaluation or your introduction can sway your audience. So in a contest, you don't get that advantage. Shantae will more than make up for it with her speech, taking on today's theme of walk the talk. Shantae Howard, walk the talk.
Thank you. Have you ever experienced a time in your life where you didn't recognize yourself? Sometimes we are so busy trying to walk our talk that things become overwhelming and we are forced into immediate change that may be too much for us to handle. Madam Toastmaster, friends, in 2008, I went from being an average 30-year-old to a single mom of 2 preteen girls, literally overnight. My half-sister had some challenges and the girls were taken into foster care. At the time, I was the only family member who was willing to take custody of these girls. In fact, my family advised me against it, as they felt that the only way that my sister would get better was if the girls were out of reach. They expressed that they would not support this decision and I would be on my own. But being the woman that I am, I refused to let these girls go into foster care. So when I got the call, I did not think twice about getting these girls and making them a home with the intent of changing their lives for the better. But I did not take into account how my life would be changed forever. Now, the first year was the hardest. The girls had PTSD from trauma they experienced, so daily we had challenges. For their privacy, I won't talk specifics, but know that every day was a test. And I felt like I was failing. It was a lot, and it caused the relationship I was in to crumble and my work to suffer. By year 2, I was overwhelmed. Life had changed drastically, and I had no release for myself. My family held true and did not assist in any way. And my life was now spent with daily challenges. The girls would have the most dramatic episodes, and I'd have to calm them. I was driving 4 hours a day to bring the girls to school and activities, making me late for work daily and several balls to be dropped. My boss no longer had patience to my situation, so she let me go. And to add fuel to the fire, my relationship came to a dramatic end because my partner felt neglected. In less than 2 years, it felt like I lost everything. My freedoms, my work, my love, my identity. I no longer recognized myself. I became angry and I started lashing out. And then one day, couldn't breathe. I felt dizzy and my heart was pounding so fast that it hurt. Oh my God, am I having a heart attack? I was rushed to the hospital and to find out that I, in fact, had had a panic attack. Can you imagine your body so stressed that it displays symptoms of a heart attack? Now, as you can imagine, this was devastating and alarming. And after a series of tests, I was clinically diagnosed with anxiety depression. In that moment, I knew that I had to make a change and take care of me before it was too late. Yes, my intentions were to do the right thing, but at what expense? I felt like a failure because I physically could not walk my talk. My friends, have you ever experienced so much stress that it started to affect your body? Now, maybe you thought it was just a little headache, or maybe you just felt exhausted. How many of us have ignored our body, our needs, to make sure that other people are okay? Possibly putting ourselves in an early grave because we are trying to do the right thing. If you have ever been on an airplane, you know that they always tell you, in case of an emergency, put your mask on first before assisting someone else. It is a salient act that we take care of ourselves first. And sometimes that means making hard decisions and maybe risking disappointing some people. So I had to make some hard decisions. I found an extended family member that could give the children the care that they needed. And then I decided to use the next year to take care of myself. I literally marked my calendar, July 6th, 2010 to July 6th, 2011. In addition to medication and therapy, I journaled, I prayed, I set goals, and I dated myself. I did things that I enjoyed, and I did them solo. I needed to know who I was, what I liked, and what I didn't like, outside of all the noise and the needs of other people. So that year, I worked on me. I took time to reflect on the woman I wanted to be. And I emerged from that experience with a clear understanding of who Shantae was, and in a mentally and physically healthier space. Now, I share my story because there is a happy ending. The girls healed and continue to thrive through today. They are now grown in healthy relationships, and I keep in contact with them regularly. As for me, depression will always be a part of my life, as it is for millions of people in this world. Every day is not perfect, but I learned to be happy by prioritizing my needs. Depression is nothing to be ashamed of, and you are not a failure if you have or have experienced it. So yes, I'm walking my talk. It may not be perfect, but it's the best way I know how. And I encourage each and every one of you to walk yours. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Shantae. That was very touching, and I love it. Love it. Let's give 90 seconds to give Shantae some reaction and for our evaluators to wrap up and think about how they're going to give their feedback to everybody. Which we had 3 very moving speeches, and it's going to be an interesting and very helpful session for all of us to get their feedback. But now I hear the lovely laughter of Muriel Shabazz, who's
always laughing,
as our table topics master. And today she is going to lead that, and we're going to do it SNAP evaluation style. Muriel, would you like to explain that?
Yes, indeed. Greetings to each and every one of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for each and every one of you for being with us. Table topics, impromptu speaking, extemporaneous speaking, speaking off the cuff. This is so exciting and fun, and everyone kind of enjoys it if you're not intimidated by asking something that you have no idea what you're going to be asked. However, we also do something called SNAP evaluation. So after we ask someone to take on a table topics question, then we ask someone to evaluate that person's response. So let's get started. Is that good enough, Sandra? All right. And for those of you who may really want a fuller explanation, if I have not been salient, it is in the chat. All right. We're going to call on our guests because most of our guests are actually familiar with Toastmasters and table topics, so I don't have to. Rhonda, would you like to go first? And thank you and welcome for being with us.
No problem.
Let's see if I can bring this up. Sandra, let me know if you can see this.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Rhonda, I'm going to see if I can make the screen a little bit bigger. Rhonda, this is what Morpheus said. Sooner or later, you're going to realize, just like I did, there's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path. Are you familiar with the Matrix and Morpheus?
Mildly.
Anyway, what do you think about that quote?
Knowing the path and walking the path, fellow Toastmasters and honor guests, they are two totally different things. I don't know about you, but I just knew my life would go a certain way. And I comported myself based on my ultimate destination. Go to school, graduate, get a degree, start my career, get married, have children, and live happily ever after. Not so. I did go to school. I did get my degree or 2 degrees, have a great career, depends on the day. But as far as marriage and children, they just were so elusive.
Mm-hmm.
I had salient thoughts of having this family and entering this new frame of living, probably on par with my peers, but that has been so elusive. But all is not lost. The same ambitions that I had in having the family and contributing to the world through procreation and having this nucleus, I've been able to do that in other areas. Like our previous speaker, I have 2 nieces and a nephew who are my surrogate children that I've been able to pour into. And I've been considered the 3rd parent for several of my cousins' children, picking them up from school, going on class trips, and doing homework. Just because you think you know the way, your walk may look radically different, but don't be faint at heart, because you can still achieve those goals and those life fulfillments, but just in a different form. Fellow Toastmasters.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rhonda. Thank you. Todd, would you like to take a question, Todd?
Muriel, are you going to do a SNF evaluation?
Yes,
Oh,
I
I'm sorry.
did.
Thank you. Yes, Marjorie, would you give Rhonda a SNAP evaluation, please? Thank you, Vicky. Marjorie, you there?
I'm here. I couldn't remove all the unmute.
Oh, okay. Would you like me to ask someone else? I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. That's
Okay.
fine. I couldn't do it before. I'm here now. Wonderful answer. She was clear on what she was doing. And one thing that I silent noticed was that she was paying attention to the past speaker, even comparing herself with the 2 nieces and nephew, and how she is the 3rd parent of her cousins, sons and daughters. She spoke so beautiful, soft, but clear, making to know to others what her path is. And she thinks that she knows, she's clear on what she wanted. She thought that she knew what she was going for. But she knows also the difference between the path, the knowing the path, and walking the path. Because sometimes we prepare, but we have to move around the edges and solving all the problems that are along the way to get where we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And just for clarity, I believe the SNAP evaluations are 60 seconds as opposed to 2 minutes. Is that correct? For our timer's sake? Okay, Baku. So that's 60 seconds. Thank you so much. Okay, I had done this. I'm going to ask Judith. Judith, how does walking your talk contribute to your professional credibility and reputation? Would you like to take that question?
Yes, Madam Table Topic Master. Well, I must admit, sometimes I did not exactly walk the talk. I was very good about exactly what I should be doing or advise people what they should be doing in their life. Well, I didn't always follow that. It took a while before I got to the point I said, okay, I believe this thing. I think that's what I should be doing. So why am I not following this? It's not as easy as it sounds of walking your talk. But eventually, in my professional credibility and reputation, I didn't really have a choice. If I wanted to advise my clients what to do, well, I should be doing the same thing. And sometimes I did, and sometimes I didn't. But eventually, it's all worked together. And it really has to do, I think, for me, is to trust my intuition, trust my thoughts about what it is that I am conveying to other people. And that took some time. And then I got to the point where people do call me and ask me because they feel that I am credible to answer, to help their issues, whatever they are. So it takes time. Walking your talk is not just walking in a park. Thank you.
Thank you. Todd, would you like to give a snap evaluation for Judith?
With pleasure, Madam Table Topic Master, fellow Toastmasters, and especially you, Judith. It was really interesting how you quickly thought about how you walk your talk and then gave us a really detailed explanation. And I thought the catalyst was the closing phrase. It's not just walking, it's actually doing something while you're walking. I know I'm paraphrasing, but I thought that was the catalyst at the end. I know in the Zoom world, it's a little bit hard to have gestures, and we now see a hand, but we didn't see any hands during the speaking. And what I found was the poetry month, I guess is what it says behind you, a little bit distracting in the picture for some reason. I would maybe remove that or maybe put one of the evaluation masters of evaluation signs in. As you can see, I've even got mine backwards for somehow reason, but yeah, it always, you got to talk your talk and walk your talk. So I guess that's it. A good example. Thank you for answering the question.
Thank you, Todd. All right, let's see if we can I'm going to skip through the ones that I have pictures of. I had something else in mind. Pamela, would you like to take a question?
I'd love to. How'd you know? I'm a big Tony Robbins fan.
All right, hit the spot. Tony says that I challenge you to make your life a masterpiece. I challenge you to join the ranks of those people who live whatever they teach, who walk their talk. Come on, Pamela, tell us all about it.
Thank you so much, Table Topic Mistress. I am like I said, a huge Tony fan. It is so true. And what you guys started this meeting with, you wrote something that Tony talks about is be amongst the five people you associate most, you will find yourself amongst them. So equate yourself, be around people who are high-reaching, and you will be high-reaching as well. So when he says, join the ranks of those people, that's just like coming to this meeting. So far today, I learned from listening to the past two speakers and the table topics, walk the walk. Wow. I mean, that speech made me reevaluate and think about integrity. And that is what walking the walk is, and talking the talk is integrity. And what I've been thinking about is sometimes I'm a health coach, okay? So I help people lose weight. And sometimes I get my nose in the refrigerator and I get my emotions going. And that's how I find, oh, there's an emotion. I want to eat. So I have to work backwards. But then I'm on the phone telling someone else, just do the program. I have to walk the talk. And sometimes I like to change the rules. You ever do that, guys? Oh, well, maybe it wasn't so much. If I reevaluate, maybe I'm really not trying to get my goal of going to the gym 5 days a week. Maybe it's just 3 days a week. I negotiate, right? I back paddle. That screws up your walk, right? Be willing to look at it and go, no, I'm not changing the rules. I put the rules, I set the rules, as Tony says, your standards, raise your standards. When we raise our standards, we walk a freaking great walk. And when you feel good about that walk, everything vibrates to other people. If you're changing the rules of how you're going to walk or sashay, right, you're not going to feel so great. And that comes. So thank you so much for what just to see Tony and to see everybody here. I am excited that I feel that you guys are helping me step up my walk today.
All right. We're going to send that testimony to Tony. Maybe he'll hook you up. Okay. Anyway, can we get Calvin? Calvin, can you give Pamela a snap evaluation for 1 minute, please?
I think he's left the meeting.
Oh, he's left the meeting. Okay. So Rosie, would you like to give Pamela a little feedback?
Yes.
Thank you.
I noticed that Pam, you had amazing body language and your vocal variety is amazing as well. And I also noticed that you really caught my attention the whole speech from beginning to the end. I just follow your speech and then at the same time, you keep repeating the key words in the topic. So you stay very consistent, very close with the topic. And it's just keep me focused on your speech every single moment from beginning to the end. So I think it was amazing. Thank you.
Okay, we are at 10:05. I've been asked to conclude the toast. We need, that's it. Is that correct?
You could do one more. You could do one more.
Okie dokie. Okay, we did Rhonda already. As a Toastmaster, how can you inspire and encourage your fellow Toastmaster members to walk their talk? Katuta, can I ask you to do that?
Yes. As a Toastmaster, how can you inspire and encourage your fellow Toastmasters to walk their talk? Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master, for the question. For me, that question means, how can you encourage other people to live by example? So not only say what they do, but actually live their lives as an example, such that they don't have to say much to show what they believe in. I think that's very inspiring. And this is why in life, sometimes we have role models. This is why sometimes people have their go-to film stars, people they don't actually know, but they just love what they do. And that can be very inspiring, and it can encourage people to do better. So as a Toastmaster, if we come to the meetings regularly, take up different roles, give great evaluations, other people can be inspired, because sometimes it's not just what the people themselves do. We learn by watching others. Some other people were progressing through pathways, for example, all of that can be inspiring for others, especially sometimes people who are just joining the club. So this Madam Table Topics Master is how I would, as a Toastmaster, I would encourage other people to walk their talk.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm going to ask my buddy from Brooklyn's Best, Jack Kaminsky, would you give Katuta your snap evaluation as we conclude this wonderful session?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Yes, I will give Katuta an evaluation of his salient words that he gave us. I love the fact that being a Toastmaster, you can shine. And I think he did. And he talked about the encouragement of other Toastmasters and future Toastmasters by inspiring them, by being a role model, by doing better, by coming to meetings, by taking up different roles, by giving better evaluations. So he showed us and told us how to do it. And he did it in such a way that was interesting, that caught our attention, that made us want to listen to what he had to say. And I think he also was a great example of what we all should do to be better Toastmasters and to encourage other Toastmasters to walk their talk. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jack. And this concludes our wonderful, fabulous, magnificent table topic session. And I will turn it back over to our Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Muriel. That was great. Good job. Those were good questions. They were, I feel as if you handpicked them for the right people. And the right person now for the job is our general evaluator, who I'm going to turn over the third part of our meeting to. And she's going to give us, direct us and help us get the feedback we all want when we give our speeches. So let me please turn it over to Judith.
Thank you very much. This is our third portion of our meeting, which I think it's most important one, when the evaluators will give very salient information and points how the speakers can improve, how well they did, and how they can improve their speeches in the future. Our first evaluator is Victoria. She is going to evaluate Pat Caslin's speech. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Pat Caslin. I do not take the job of evaluating you lightly. And when I think about what I can add to your speech, I look for salient points that will make this even better. I have heard versions of this speech, and I love it. I especially loved your opening. I was rolling my wheelchair. Immediately, you set the tone for where you are headed. And you caught us right at the beginning. They say you should start a speech the moment people go, what did they just say? And you had me at that first sentence. When you described your friend, you said he was corpulent, a little bit short-sighted, and had a wicked sense of humor. The short-sighted part may have been about the glasses that you were going to don later on, but I would love to have another descriptor besides a little short-sighted. The broken glasses are a great prop, and I think they work, but corpulent, a wicked sense of humor, a loving man, something else to add to the description. That short-sightedness made me think about, now let's see, a short-sighted, you can't see far away or you see close, because, you know, I'm getting old myself. Two areas that I want you to think about. One is for the physical, for the pause, it's really important to say something and then pause in a powerful way. When you said something like, when the moment passes, it's irretrievable. Stop and shake your head. Take that moment. Look at your audience. I didn't know what I was going to do. Whatever it is, those little head movements really help bring your point home and pause it. So I want you to look at where you can add to the speech with your face and your gestures, and very small. The other area is dialogue. I love the dialogue. And when you put on the glasses, you were obviously talking as him. When you described all the things you did when you were young, I would have liked that to be all dialogue from him. When we were young. And then, because then you went back into dialogue, but there was a complete story he was telling you. And then when you would pause, you would smile and shake your head. And that, I think, would bring us into the story greater. The only other thing I would say is, I don't know about this, it's just an idea. When you ended it, when you ended the speech, I wonder if you could end with, as I rolled my wheelchair away from his room, I remembered these things. Beautiful speech, Pat. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That is really a great ending to the speech, I must say. So really, it was a great speech. Okay, moving right along. Our next evaluator is Ray Sweeney. He's going to evaluate Tamara's speech. Welcome, Sweeney. Ray. Very, very sorry. Right, let's see here.
Tamara, did we walk the talk? Did we learn a lesson of great value tonight? Well, look, I love the way you opened with a prop. That was so unexpected. I didn't know whether we were going to have a shave or sit down for dinner. And then a question. You took us on a journey of history, a journey to Ukraine, your country. Allow me to share what I loved about this speech and perhaps some areas that maybe we can improve on. Firstly, your pronunciation. I have to commend you on that this evening. You spoke those words with a huge smile. And that's very warm. What it does, it encircles the audience with encouragement. You used words such as flabbergasted, devastated, fighting back the tears. I also love you had us listening intently, and you're a great storyteller. And I watched all the people on screen were leaning in to hear. That is the sign of a great storyteller. And you told us about your life. Very interesting. And thirdly, I love that you included a poem and you gave it to us at a great pace. You made a salient point. You informed, you inspired us throughout. And that was the objective of this speech tonight. So how do we take a good speech and elevate it to the top of the mountain? Well, perhaps this is really housekeeping. I noticed that maybe you were rocking backwards and forwards. One of the things we always try and practice in Toastmasters at the very beginning of our speech is to move with purpose. So I would try and remain still if you can, and only move for the points where you want to emphasize with your body. Secondly, as Vicky has already mentioned, the power of the pause. And the special thing about this is, say, for instance, you gave us that line, the truth must dazzle greatly. Allow us to drink that in for a moment. Those couple of seconds can make all the difference. Tamara, I love watching you grow each meeting. And I'd like to share a quote from Brené Brown that says, no one deserves to be here more than you. The truth can blind us and its delivery. You left us with a salient thinking point about the beauty of poetry. Tamara, you certainly can walk your talk. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you so much, Ray. And now we are going to see the functionality report. So,
Point of order, there was one more evaluation.
what happened?
There's one more evaluation.
Oh, I am so sorry. Yes, of course, John. I am terribly, terribly sorry. I didn't mean to.
Not a problem.
Just moved on one line further. Yes, absolutely. John White, evaluating Shantae's speech.
Thank you very much for that. It's a pleasure to be evaluating Shantae. You notice on her Zoom, she says speaker and D1 Club Growth Director. In the spirit of the speech contest season, I'll have none of that. There will be no halo effect. The fact that I work under you, under Club Growth, and perhaps my words might cause me to be fired. None of that. You are a speaker. I'm an evaluator. I'm here to serve you. Shantae, what a touching story about how you intervened on behalf of these two girls. It really was the hero's journey. Heroes having a great time, living the hero's life. Suddenly something happens. You sacrifice yourself and you take remedial actions. You address that. And then there's a happy ending. But in your case, the hero's injured. You have this anxiety and depression. So you paid the price for that. It was very touching. I love your sweet, tender voice, and it was heartwarming. I loved all of that. I'd like to work on the story arc and to take your voice, which is so sweet and kind and awesome, and to sharpen it, if you will. Vicky had talked about in Pat's speech, for you want to emphasize on the anxiety. My heart was racing. My palms were sweating. I thought I was going to die. I mean, make us feel that anxiety. The words were there. I would just like the volume and the pace and the despair, if you will, to come through. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the message. To me, the salient point was about self-love, self-care, taking care of yourself. The story was touching, but this walking my talk threw me off. There was never in my mind a moment where you were acting out of integrity. In other words, I thought I said this, and this, but I was doing this, and this. And then a girlfriend came to me and said, "You're full of blank." You know, I didn't have that. You were acting integrity. Rather, you were living a life. You were sideswiped by this event, and you took appropriate action. Also, I'd like to somehow address a little bit that while it threw your life upside down, you were glad that you made that decision. You did say that the girls were all right, but there was a minute where I was like, were you saying you wish you hadn't acted on behalf of the girls? I'm not saying that was the message, but it was unresolved for me. So I would take the salient message, change the title for that, and really at the end wrap it up the way you did. The girls are fine, I'm fine, and this is what I've learned for me and for you. You got to take care of yourself. You got to have self-love so that you can take care of the important ones in your life. Then the story makes sense. Because for me, it wasn't enough message. It was a little too much story. But I can't wait for your second version of the speech, and I hope I'm still employed in Club Growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. And so now, excuse me, what happened? So now we are in the functionality report. So, so to stay on time, so David, try to we do this in a 2-minute report. So, David, you are on.
Right.
And you have to unmute.
Well, you may recall early on I said I was going to look for 3 points. The first was waste words that I could put in the trash can. I didn't hear any ums and ahs and years and so on. So what a successful club you are on that basis. the good language, the vivid, the powerful language, just to listen to Pat's speech, which I've heard a version of once before. There were so many wonderful words here, like stolen and stealed in the sense of getting ready for, wicked, and a time as a gift, but squandering time, and elusive from Rhonda, a word that she used twice to add power to it. And nobody deserves to be something than you. Ah, yes, lovely phrase. Okay, and let's look at the word of the day. And of course, that was used not only by one of our newer members, Paco, thank you very much, but by a certain John, who used it 3 times. So I pronounce him the winner. But at least once, Tamara, Muriel, Jack, Vicky, and Ray, and perhaps 2 or 3 other people that I missed. So congratulations to you all. We're a very successful club, and I loved listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, David. That salient was certainly a great word. It's always nice to have a word that we can all use at all times, and not to think about it, what the word may be or what. I think it was a great idea. So I am going to now, have an evaluation of the meeting. I certainly, we had great speeches, heartfelt, and really, I just loved all these speeches there. And the table topics was wonderful. Thank you, Muriel. You did a very good job. You walk the talk. And I just want to add one thing to Tamara's speech, because Tamara, I loved your speeches each time I hear it. But one thing that I missed is when you are speaking, and the reason that pauses are so important, so we can feel the emotions that you are talking about, because I don't feel it. It turns into a long, long speech. It's interesting, but it all goes into one thing. So when you stop and let us feel what is it that you want us to feel, that is an important part of that. And so I think would be a good thing, because you are a great storyteller, and certainly it's great to listen to your speeches. Evaluations were certainly great. We always have to remember that we do have to give serious, this is Master of Evaluation, we have to give you serious points to the speakers to improve their speeches, and that certainly happened here. And that's basically what I am going to say, but basically I don't actually like to use the word, but there we are. Anyway, great meeting, thank you. And then let's hear the timer report. Baku, please tell us how did the speakers do?
Thank you, Judith. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the speakers and evaluators who have spoken today, also those who have spoken at table topics. I have the salient task to be the timekeeper today. So I would like to make sure that I give a report, which includes the prepared speeches today. I will start with Pat. Pat, your actual time was at 6 minutes and 38 seconds. You are evaluated by Victoria. Victoria, your evaluations was at 3 minutes and 20 seconds. The second speaker, we had Tamara. Tamara, your actual time was at 7 minutes and 37 seconds. You were evaluated by Ray. And Ray, your actual time was 2 minutes and 46 seconds. Our third speaker was Shantae. Shantae, your actual time was 7 minutes and 12 seconds. You were evaluated by John, and John, your actual time was 3 minutes and 18 seconds. We then went on over to the table topics, and we had 4 speakers. We started out with Rhonda. Rhonda, your time was at 2 minutes and 14 seconds. You were evaluated by Marjorie. Marjorie, your time was at 1 minute, and your evaluation was at 1 minute and 30 seconds. Second, we had Judith. Your time was at 1 minute and 45 seconds. You're evaluated by Todd, and Todd, you were at about 1 minute and 6 seconds for your evaluation. Our next speaker for table topic was Pamela. Pamela, you were at 2 minutes and 34 seconds. You were evaluated by Rosie. Rosie, your time of evaluation was at 38 seconds. Our last speaker was Katuta. You were at 1 minute and 59 seconds. You were evaluated by Jack, and his evaluation time was at 1 minute and 23 seconds. If we would go on to the report that David just gave us.
It's okay.
Okay.
That's all right. Thank you so much. We're running out of time here. So I think we had an extensive report on that. Thank you very much. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Well, thank you. And I'm going to keep it very short so that John has a moment to get your reactions, especially from our guests, and especially more to those who haven't had a chance to speak this morning, evening. I'm so used to talking around the world, I never know where I'm at. I was so happy to find out that today was the day of Walk the Talk. And that I attached earlier, and I will later at the end of the meeting attach the UN document that describes that. But I think as Toastmasters, that's our responsibility. When we speak, we should talk what we believe and not just say words.
And that is it. As good as today was, in 2 weeks, it'll get even better. So to all our guests, come back. We are available to take on new members. Not any old Toastmaster, but we like what we see today. And thank you all. We have a great weekend, and we will see you in a couple weeks. The meeting is adjourned.